Rowan Williams, as the Archbishop of Canterbury, is the leader of the global Anglican Communion. The Communion includes 80 million people in 160 countries with diverse histories, beliefs, and cultures.
The very word church means assembly called together. It's not an assembly of people who have decided to be with each other and adopt a common agenda, but people who've been brought together by the impact of, in this case, an event, the death and resurrection of Jesus.
Rowan Williams says his faith was formed early as a boy growing up in Wales.
It was a mining village in the Swansea Valley, about 16 miles from Swansea, and not very prosperous, bilingual, Welsh and English, and very much still in the 1950s, a conservative community socially. Chapel and Sunday school were routine and I think very important to the whole family, and I just got absolutely absorbed by the Bible quite early on as a set of stories and then as a set of ideas and then as a set of ideals.
After an education at several of England's most prestigious universities, Williams became a parish priest.
Being a pastor is actually doing theology in all sorts of contexts, all sorts of modes. You have to relate to people's problems in a language they engage with. And that means you've got to work at your own ideas, your own convictions, in such a way that you can build bridges into other people's experience. And the communication bit is, I think, the pastoral end, where you are always seeking for a common language.
Williams eventually served as Bishop of Monmouth and then Archbishop of Wales.
But every bishop, I think, learns the tasks of trying to facilitate a prayerful conversation among people who may not want to spend time together. And during my time as Bishop of Monmouth, we were working through the ordination of women as priests in the church in Wales, and that was quite hard work. And trying to facilitate a certain depth to that conversation, making sure that people prayed together, starting prayer partnerships in the diocese across the divide of conviction.
In 2003, Rowan Williams became the 104th Archbishop of Canterbury.
Has the experience of being Archbishop of Canterbury been different from what you expected?
I think the two things that have been far, far bigger than I ever expected were, of course, dealing with the tensions and the crises in the Communion and all the challenges that come with that, but also the amount of time I found myself spending on interfaith matters. And now that's a major part of the international responsibility.
Addressing economics and social justice is both a responsibility and a personal passion. In July 2008, the Archbishop led a march of several hundred bishops through the streets of London to the Houses of Parliament to remind governments of the Millennium Development Goals, which include the eradication of extreme poverty and an end to the deaths of young children from preventable diseases such as malaria.
Well, as they say, if they didn't exist, we'd have to invent them. And yet they do represent a serious set of aims for countries that have power, that have leverage in the world. So I'm clinging to them as priorities and trying to hold our governments to account on them.
A lot of words can describe Rowan Williams: scholar, poet, pastor, bishop, political advocate, husband, father. But in the midst of a busy and often complex life, he retained some fundamental beliefs from that boyhood in a small church in Wales.
When I was first appointed, I said something about wanting to capture the imagination of the nation again for the church. And yet, of course, when it comes to it, you can't say anything very new. The truth is what it is, and that's why I ended up saying some rather basic things about faith in Jesus Christ, because what else is there to say?